Hey everybody, it's Wendy with loveandstampin.com. I am so excited to be here with you today. We are going to do a couple of simple and sweet cards using the Ornate Garden Suite. So here's both the cards. So full disclaimer, this video was actually recorded and designed for my Stamp Club members, my people that belong to Love and Stampin' Monthly. However, this product was so extremely popular the very first day that it came out that, there's already pieces of it on back order. So what I have done is I've linked to everything below the video and over on my blog. And there are some items that are still available. There are some items that are not. And even though they're back ordered, some of them you can still purchase, and then you just kind of have to wait to get them. So I did not edit any of this video. Normally I would edit this out where I'm poking out all these little pieces, but I left it in so that we could have some good chat because it's been a minute since I have done a pre-recorded video for you. I've been doing several live videos. In fact, I have, right now I'm trying to do an online workshop every Thursday at 3 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time on my my VIP Facebook group. I have linked to that Facebook group below this video, so if you want to join in, you totally can. It's completely free. You can just join in and watch. And then, of course, I'm doing my Facebook Lives on Wednesdays at 5 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time on my normal Facebook page, which you can search on Facebook, Love and Stampin'. So I've listed the supplies, I've listed the measurements for both cards, and we're just going to pretty much chit chat. These die cuts are absolutely gorgeous. I love them. The great thing about these die cuts is they layer beautifully with the stitched rectangles as well. So that's really cool. And they're just a really fun die cut. So one quick tip I want to give you right here is you can see that a lot of these didn't poke out. This was my fault. First of all, I should have used the precision plate when I cut this die because it's an intricate die. The precision plate is not something that's sold by Stampin' Up! Anymore, but I have linked to it below this video so that if you need one for your Big Shot or your die cutting machine, you can get one. I also should have ran it through the die cut machine more than once. I just ran it through one time, and when you have intricate dies, you should really run them through 2, even maybe 3 times, just in the same position, just a quick run through a couple different times, and it helps cut really well through all these little intricate holes. When you think about it, I mean, look at all the little teensy tiny holes that this is cutting. So it's a lot to cut in one swipe. So I always run stuff like this through a couple of times, and I just neglected to do it because I was in a hurry. And so there you go. So we're going to just poke them all out one at a time. So update on life. What's been going on? Where I've been. I'm doing my very best to balance homeschooling, cooking a lot because we're not going out to eat, which, by the way, we're going to talk about that later in the video about how much we went out to eat. I didn't even know. And moving into my new space, which, by the way, I am recording this video in my new space. I have officially moved into my new space. I love it. However, there were parts and pieces that I was planning to purchase at IKEA to finish my space off, and obviously I'm not able to do that because IKEA is closed. I did, however, go to overstock.com to find a beautiful desk that actually is something that I ended up loving even more than what I was going to get. So that worked out brilliantly. So that is actually sitting on my porch as we speak, waiting its time to be put in my office. They are suggesting that if you get packages, you let them sit for 24 hours, wipe them down with some sort of disinfecting agent before you bring them into your home. So I've gotten 2 deliveries in the last 2 days, and I have put them on my porch, or I have had them sit on the porch. That's my desk and a tabletop. And so they're sitting there till Friday. And on Friday, after my husband gets home from work, we will take everything out and wipe it all down. I have already disinfected and sprayed the boxes, so now they're just sitting. You know, everybody's dealing with this differently. I'm probably erring on the side of overcautious. I don't care. That's who I am. It's what makes me comfortable. So you do you, I'll do me, and that's it. You know, every person has to do what makes them the most comfortable right now. And that's something that makes me comfortable, is to just let my packages sit. It is what has been advised by the postal system. And so that's what I'm doing. Also, can we talk about getting groceries? So I have stocked up on some groceries just because I've never been somebody who has a whole lot of groceries on hand. I've always been a shopper who shops just for the essentials every couple of weeks, and basics. Never have been a person that has a bunch of extra stuff in my pantry. Well, the issue with that is that the stores are running out of stuff often, and while I'm not of the mindset that I need to hoard, I definitely am of the mindset that the less I can go to a store or be exposed in public, the better. So I have been ordering online and going and doing the pick up and go, which has been wonderful. They've been out of a lot of stuff, so I just am very grateful for whatever I get. And I have to tell you, one of the ladies who loaded my car with groceries last week from Safeway, it was pouring rain, and I didn't get out of the car because they prefer if you don't, by the way. They don't want you to get out of the car and interact with them. So I stayed in the car, and I allowed her to put all the groceries in my trunk. And while she was putting them in, I just turned around and I said, "Thank you so much for continuing to be here, continuing to work. You're such a blessing. I'm so sorry for what you're having to go through." And she was like, "Thank you so much." She said, there's so many people who can't get the items that they want or that they're used to having, like their creature comforts. And she had said how she was yelled at earlier in the day by somebody. And it actually made me cry. I didn't cry in front of her, but as I left, I got very teary because I thought, just have some dang patience, people. Like, we're all in this together, right? We are all going through this together. There is no person that's immune to this situation. And I was just mortified at the idea of this sweet lady who, she was probably my age, who's working her tail off in the pouring rain, loading my car with groceries, and somebody had yelled at her that day because they didn't get whatever item it was that they wanted. Tough crap. I mean, that's how I feel right now. It's just like, suck it up, Buttercup. And I don't mean to devalue anybody's feelings, but don't be disgusting. I mean, that is just disgusting to treat somebody who is having to be exposed, being on the front lines, dealing with all the chaos that's happening in the stores, and then to be disrespectful to them in any way is just appalling to me. And I just think there is no room for it. So I'm going to put my soapbox away now, off my rant. I just was mortified for her. And I just told her how sorry I was for her, and, how much I appreciated her, and that I hoped that her day got better. So anyway, that being said, I feel like, we're all in this together. Everybody's trying their best. And it's just a good time to practice a lot of patience. Isn't this beautiful? So I stamped this in early espresso, and then I took my Wink Estella pen and I just glittered and colored into the centers of all of the flowers just for a tiny bit of detail. And then it's layered on top of mint macaron cardstock, which is cut at 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. And then there's a piece of early espresso cardstock as my base. And I will use a piece of white cardstock to go inside this card so that you can clearly see the writing. And then we're just going to layer a couple of pieces of the Designer Series paper right over the top. So this is the Ornate Garden Designer Series paper. I think that's what it's called. And I just have a couple of little strips here, and I'm just going to layer them right over the top of the stamped image, and then we're going to add a few other little details. So back to the chat. So I've managed to get some groceries, not everything that I wanted. Flour is next to impossible to find. I have a little bit. I have not found bread when I've needed it, so I've started making bread, which I think is interesting because my aunt, I was talking to her yesterday, and she said that every time she's in the store, there's tons of bread. So it's really funny. People are like making bread, but apparently there's plenty of bread in the stores. However, I think there was a period where there was not. So maybe that is what kind of catapulted people into it. Plus, let's just talk about the food. I don't know about any of you, but I am going to be 50 pounds heavier by the time this is over. I don't know if it's stress eating, if it's anxiety eating. I don't know what it is, but the baking and the eating that's happening in our house is borderline disgusting. I mean, it's so weird. I don't know if it's boredom, insecurity, like we're just all feeling a little insecure, but I am not the only person that has said this. I have heard this from a lot of people that there's a ton of eating and drinking. Now, I personally haven't been drinking any alcohol because I am observing Lent, and so for Lent I gave up having alcohol, and I think I've shared that before. I am not Catholic, but anybody who wants to can observe Lent. You don't have to be Catholic to observe Lent. But I do get asked that question every time I say that. People ask me if I'm Catholic. So I gave up alcohol and sweets, and I am embarrassed to say that the sweets thing has not stuck. It pretty much has, but I have had slip-ups. So that's just the truth. The alcohol deal has stuck. I have not had a drop, and I have bottles of wine sitting in my house. So I'm sure I will indulge and have a glass of wine here or there after Easter, because that's when Lent will end. But as of now, I haven't had any. So anyway, that's what's been going on here. My husband moved our outdoor fire pit. We have a baby chick that we're still raising. My daughter decided she wanted to move her bedroom into the room that I moved out of. So, which is so weird to me because it's smaller than her bedroom, but I think she just wanted something to focus on. So her and my husband painted it, got it all ready, and she moved into it, and it's been good because it's given her something else to focus on, and it's forced her to clean up a lot of her junk because the child has too much junk. I mean, honestly, all the little toys and treats. So here's the first card, all finished. I used the 1/2-inch circle punch, used the mint macaron to make that little circle. This is the second card that we're going to do. So I'm just going to whip through this guy for you so you can see how it was put together. We've got a regular 5.5 by 8.5 card base. I'm going to fold that in half, put it down. And then this piece was embossed using the floral embossing folder. So I'm going to run that through the die cut machine, and then we'll go from there. So anyway, she moved into a different room in the house, and I think actually it's going to be good for her. It has really beautiful lighting. The lighting in that room is much better than the room she was in. And I kind of like the idea that it's a smaller room because it won't allow her to collect as much crap. And then, this is probably too much information, but she also moved further away from our bedroom, if you know what I'm saying. So, there's that. So anyway, isn't this pretty? I love this embossing folder. Okay, so we've got a strip here of the designer series paper. It's cut at 1 inch by 5.25, and it's going to go across, and then we're going to add our die cut, and we're going to stamp with terracotta tile. By the way, that cardstock is also terracotta tile. So I told you a lie. This is actually 1 inch by 5.5 inches, this little strip of paper right here. And then terracotta tile, and we're going to do our stamping. So everybody who I know that is a card maker has been working super hard on making tons of cards for hospital staff, different people. I don't know who to do that for. Here's why I'm saying that. I don't want to inundate anybody who's already exhausted and stressed. So I certainly would not want to send a bunch of cards directly to a hospital. They're dealing with enough. I have a friend who lives in Ohio who's a physician's assistant. I've thought about reaching out to her, but I think she works in pediatrics, and I'm pretty sure she wouldn't be inundated at this moment with situations. So I'm kind of just at a loss as to who to send stuff to. So I have been giving extra goodies and treats to my postal workers. I have tried to treat people in the community really well by giving them extra, like giving them card kits to work on with their kids, different things like that. So that's been going good. But I don't know about any of you, but I feel a sense of like I want to help, but I don't know how to. And so I've really decided that a huge way I'm helping is to stay my butt at home, staying home like they asked me to. And then B is just wherever I see a need that I feel like I can fulfill, doing it. Example, I don't know how to make face masks. I know tons of people who are sewing and making face masks. I don't even own a sewing machine. So I'm not making face masks for people. I'm not going to worry about that. That's not something I know how to do. It's not something I'm capable of doing. So I'm going to let that go off my plate. I would love to send a batch of thank you cards out to some healthcare workers or other essential employees, but I honestly don't really know who, where, what, when, and I don't want to be a problem or a burden to anybody. So I hand cut out these flowers, and I'm just going to add them now to the card. So yeah, that's that. This card's super simple, but it kind of has a big punch, don't you think? Yeah, so that's kind of what I'm doing. I did give my sister a meal yesterday. I made the King Ranch chicken casserole by the Pioneer Woman, which, by the way, highly recommend that recipe. It's delicious. I will link to it below the video so that you don't have to go searching for it. It's so yum. And so I had made a casserole. Well, there's only 3 of us. So I divvied up enough of the casserole for my husband to have some lunches out of it. And then I kept enough for myself to have some leftovers. But I knew he wouldn't want to eat leftovers at night of it because he's eating it for lunch, right? So I went ahead and told my sister, if you want the rest of this casserole, you can have it. So I checked in with her today and they did have it, and she said it was delicious. So yay. It's kind of like a Tex-Mex recipe. It's really good. And if you have a large family, it feeds a lot of people. So that's good. Or if you want to make the whole thing and then give half to somebody else, that's great too. We are doing delivery, drop, pickup stuff outside of the house. So she never comes in the house. I went outside, handed it to her in a bag. She took it and she left. So you can still do things like that, I think, or hang it, on a door or your gate or whatever people can pick up. Okay, that's it for this video. I hope that you have an amazing rest of your day. I feel like we're kind of caught up on life now. I will be live twice this week, so I hope you can check that out. Talk to you soon. Have a good one. Bye-bye.